You've been lied to about how success works. They told you to work hard, stay humble, and let your results speak for themselves. But if you spent even a few years in the corporate world, you already know the truth. Your performance doesn't always matter. Your ideas don't always get rewarded. And the people getting promoted often aren't the smartest. They're the most strategic. Welcome to office politics, the reality they don't want you to see. Most workplaces pretend to operate on meritocracy, the belief that the best performers rise naturally. But behind closed doors, there's another game happening. Quiet alliances, strategic favors, subtle power plays. And if you ignore this game, you become a pawn in someone else's strategy. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. In The Prince, he wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men who honor titles." In today's office, it's not your title that defines your power. It's how you move behind the scenes. The first rule: stop playing fair in an unfair game. Office politics isn't dirty, it's neutral. People make it dirty when they exploit it without ethics. But pretending it doesn't exist, that's suicide. Here's the hard truth: the person who gets noticed isn't always the hardest worker. The loyal soldier rarely becomes the general. Being liked often matters more than being right. And before you protest, this doesn't mean you compromise your values. It means you learn to play two games at once: the visible game of performance and delivery, the invisible game of influence and positioning. Ignore the second, and someone less capable will quietly move past you. The Machiavellian lens on power. Machiavelli's genius was simple. He stripped human behavior down to its raw motives: fear, desire, loyalty, envy. These aren't just courtly intrigues of medieval princes. They are alive in your office today. Your boss promotes someone who strokes their ego, even if they're less skilled. Colleagues form alliances not based on merit, but on mutual benefit. The friendly coworker sometimes plants subtle seeds of doubt about you to advance themselves. You can get angry about this, or you can get strategic. Step 1. Map the power structures. Before you make a single move, you need clarity. Who holds power where you work? Hint: it's not always the person with the highest title. Power in an organization flows through 3 channels: formal authority, titles, reporting lines, and budgets; social influence, who people listen to, regardless of title; gatekeepers, the quiet operators who control access to resources, opportunities, or decision makers. Machiavelli advised rulers to know the nature of the terrain before marching. Your terrain is the political map of your workplace. If you don't understand it, you're already exposed. Step 2. Master controlled visibility. In office politics, being invisible is as dangerous as being too loud. The sweet spot: strategic visibility. Speak when your contribution elevates the conversation. Volunteer for high-impact projects, not busy work. Make sure the right people see your wins, quietly, without arrogance. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not necessary to be loved, but it is very necessary to be feared." In the office, feared doesn't mean intimidating others. It means earning respect by showing competence, composure, and consistency. Step 3. Build quiet alliances. Most people treat relationships at work as transactional. That's a mistake. The most effective operators invest in genuine alliances, based not on gossip, but on mutual value. Ask yourself, who has influence in rooms you're not in? Who can advocate for you when decisions happen without you? How can you make others look good so they naturally return the favor? A single strategic ally can be worth more than years of grinding silently. The shift that changes everything. The day you stop expecting fairness, the game changes. Office politics stop feeling dirty. You stop feeling like a victim. You stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing your moves. Machiavelli warned, men are driven by 2 principal impulses, either by love or by fear. In the workplace, this translates to one simple truth: people either respect you enough to support you or dismiss you because they don't have to care. Your job is to shape that perception deliberately. In the next part, we'll break down exactly how Machiavellian tactics work inside office dynamics, including how to identify manipulators, how to read unspoken alliances, and how to secure influence without burning bridges. If you work in any organization long enough, you'll notice something. The smartest people don't always rise to the top. Often it's the most calculating ones, the individuals who understand not just what's happening, but why it's happening. This is where Machiavelli's brilliance comes in. He understood a timeless truth. Men are so simple and so much creatures of circumstance that the deceiver will always find someone willing to be deceived. In the modern workplace, manipulation is everywhere. But here's the key. You don't need to be manipulative yourself. You need to see the game clearly before anyone else does. The psychology behind office power games. Most people assume colleagues act logically and fairly. That's naive. In reality, behavior at work is driven by fear of losing status or influence, desire for recognition, resources, and control, insecurity masked as overconfidence, tribal loyalty, sticking with their people even when it's irrational. This is why you see people sabotage others, take credit for work they didn't do, or whisper about you behind closed doors. It's rarely personal. It's strategic survival. To win in office politics, you need to understand one rule. People are not playing the same game you are. While you're focused on doing excellent work, others are building alliances, controlling narratives, and positioning themselves for power. Spotting the manipulators early. Machiavelli warned, the promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. In plain English, people will break promises the moment it benefits them. This doesn't make them evil, it makes them human. But it also makes them predictable, if you know what to look for. Signs you're dealing with a manipulator at work: selective transparency. They share just enough to seem trustworthy, but always keep control of the full picture. Strategic gossip. They position themselves as your ally while planting seeds of doubt about others and you. Fake helpfulness. They offer support publicly but quietly undermine you behind the scenes. Credit theft. They attach themselves to successful projects and vanish when things fail. Controlled chaos. They deliberately create problems only they can solve to appear indispensable. By identifying these behaviors early, you neutralize their leverage before it turns against you. The counter move. The art of non-reaction. Here's a harsh truth. In office politics, reactivity is weakness. The more emotional you are, the easier you are to manipulate. When someone tries to provoke you, whether subtly or directly, pause. Step back. Ask yourself, why are they doing this? What do they gain if I respond emotionally? Who benefits if I look unbalanced? Machiavelli would advise silence, composure, and strategic observation. In his words, he who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not will be victorious. Mastering your emotional neutrality is your greatest weapon. It forces others to reveal their moves before you commit to yours. How to protect your reputation without fighting every battle. In corporate environments, perception is power. Unfortunately, many people waste energy defending themselves against every rumor or subtle attack. That's a losing strategy. Instead, follow this rule. Win influence, not arguments. Build your credibility through consistent high-quality work. Quietly showcase your achievements to key decision-makers. Stay out of petty conflicts. Being above the noise increases your perceived value. The more composed you appear under pressure, the harder it becomes for manipulators to drag you into their games. Forming strategic counter-alliances. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." In the workplace, this means being proactive, not reactive. Don't wait until you're isolated or blindsided by office politics. Build quiet alliances now. Seek relationships with people who are respected and well-connected. Offer genuine value before you need anything in return. Create a subtle network of allies who can advocate for you when you're not in the room. One loyal ally in the right position can neutralize 5 manipulators overnight. The real game begins here. Part of becoming Machiavellian isn't about being ruthless, it's about being aware. Most people lose at office politics because they're playing checkers in a game of chess. When you understand power motives, recognize manipulation, and control your emotional responses, you start moving silently but effectively. And the best part? You'll rarely have to confront anyone directly. Your influence grows without a fight. In Part 3, we'll dive deeper into covert influence strategies, how to win loyalty, control narratives, and get promoted without being seen as aggressive or political. Machiavelli understood something most people still struggle to grasp. Power is not seized loudly, it's earned silently. In the office, the people who look like they're in control often aren't the ones really pulling the strings. The true players operate beneath the surface, subtly influencing perceptions, decisions, and alliances without drawing attention. If you want to rise without resistance, you need to master the art of covert influence, shaping outcomes without anyone realizing you're steering them. The invisible hand, influence without authority. Here's a cold truth. In corporate environments, authority is overrated. Titles don't always equal power. You can be outranked on paper, yet outmaneuver everyone if you control information, perception, and relationships. There are 3 Machiavellian levers of influence. Control the narrative. Decide which stories get told, when, and to whom. Frame projects, setbacks, and successes in a way that subtly benefits your position. People believe what they hear first and most frequently. Be the source, not the echo. Shape the gatekeepers. In every company, there are unofficial power brokers, assistants, coordinators, analysts. Win their trust. Treat them as equals. Earn information before others even know it exists. Machiavelli would call this influencing the influencers. Amplify others strategically. Subtly promote colleagues' successes when it also elevates you. By becoming the person who makes others look good, you gain silent loyalty. Those same people will later protect you without you asking. This isn't manipulation. It's alignment, creating situations where your success feels natural to everyone around you. Winning loyalty without begging for it. Most people make the mistake of asking for support instead of earning it. Machiavelli would advise the opposite. Men are more ready to repay an injury than a benefit, because gratitude is a burden and revenge a pleasure. So how do you earn loyal allies in a cutthroat workplace? Give before you need. Offer small favors or insights early, with no expectation. Make them feel chosen. Everyone wants to believe they're part of an inner circle. Protect selectively. Step in for someone at the right moment, and they'll feel indebted without you saying a word. When people feel they owe you, even unconsciously, they'll defend you when it matters most. Planting seeds of perception. Here's a Machiavellian secret. Power isn't about what's true. It's about what people believe. You don't have to shout your achievements. Instead, you plant subtle reminders that others repeat for you. Example, instead of saying, "I saved the project," you say to a colleague over coffee, "I'm just glad the strategy worked out the way we planned." You framed yourself as part of the solution without bragging. That colleague will likely repeat the story later, amplifying your credibility organically. This technique works because people trust narratives they discover themselves more than ones forced on them. The power of strategic silence. In a noisy office, the quietest person often commands the most attention. Machiavelli wrote, "The more sand has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it." Silence isn't weakness, it's leverage. It forces others to reveal more than they intend. It makes your rare statements carry weight. It shields you from gossip wars. You're too measured to be accused of spreading drama. If someone expects you to react quickly, pause. People fear silence because it creates uncertainty, and uncertainty makes them reveal their intentions. when to step into the light. You can't stay invisible forever. At some point, the organization must see your value, but you must time it carefully. The goal is to surface right when decision-makers are watching. How to execute this Machiavellian play? Pick high visibility moments. Offer solutions when stakes are highest. Deliver calm confidence. Your presence should feel stable when others panic. Step back immediately after. Don't linger in the spotlight. It looks desperate. This makes people remember you when it matters, while keeping your moves understated. The mastery level, becoming politically untouchable. In office politics, your goal isn't dominance, it's immunity. You're seen but not envied. You're trusted but never fully transparent. You influence without confrontation. By playing beneath the surface, you make yourself difficult to target. People attack what they can predict. If they can't read you, they'll think twice before moving against you. In Part 4, we'll dive into high-stakes positioning, how to turn conflicts, reorganizations, and power struggles into opportunities for quiet advancement without ever looking like you're playing politics. In every workplace, there are moments of crisis: restructurings, layoffs, leadership changes, project failures. Most people panic, some freeze. But for the Machiavellian thinker, chaos is an opportunity. Niccolò Machiavelli taught one brutal principle: never waste the turbulence of others. When everyone else is scrambling for safety, you position yourself for power. This doesn't mean creating conflict. It means thriving inside it. Step 1. Stay calm while others spiral. When tension rises, fear spreads faster than facts. Projects fail, departments merge, and whispers about layoffs dominate the halls. In these moments, your behavior is under a microscope. Your advantage. While others react emotionally, you remain composed. You don't feed the gossip machine. You ask precise questions and gather real information quietly. The silent player often becomes a natural stabilizer when chaos hits, and people start looking to you for cues without even realizing it. Step 2. Read the hidden power map. Every workplace has an official hierarchy and a real one. During crises, the real hierarchy shifts quickly. Some people lose influence overnight while new decision-makers emerge. To maneuver effectively, you must identify rising power players. Who's getting closer to leadership? Spot who's vulnerable, which executives are being sidelined. Track information brokers, who always knows things before everyone else. By observing these shifts quietly, you can realign yourself with the people gaining control, often before anyone else notices. Step 3. Neutralize threats without direct confrontation. When stakes are high, competition sharpens. Colleagues might try to undermine you or use office chaos to climb over you. Here's the Machiavellian way to deal with them. Don't attack directly. It makes you look defensive and creates enemies. Redirect the spotlight. Casually highlight someone else's solution to a leadership problem. Let them overpromise and burn credibility. Use plausible deniability. You never accuse, never complain, never leave fingerprints. This strategy is power through subtraction. You rise simply by not falling when others sabotage themselves. Step 4. Seize the high visibility wins. Crises create gaps, broken projects, leadership voids, urgent tasks nobody wants. These moments are Machiavellian gold. Volunteer strategically. Only step into problems where success is achievable and highly visible. Control the narrative. Frame your involvement as saving the team, not self-promotion. Exit gracefully. Once the job is done, step back and let others spread the story of your contribution. The goal isn't to look hungry for power. It's to appear naturally competent when leadership desperately needs solutions. Step 5. The art of selective loyalty. In turbulent times, alliances matter, but loyalty must be strategic, not emotional. Align with rising players without burning bridges with the old guard. Avoid choosing sides openly. Instead, stay useful to everyone. Be the connector, the person who keeps relationships across departments and power groups intact. People gravitate toward those who don't panic and don't overcommit. By being dependable but discreet, you position yourself as indispensable. Step 6. Rebuild your image quietly. After the storm settles, something subtle happens. The office hierarchy reshapes permanently. Some careers stall, some vanish, and some accelerate. Your task is to emerge as the person everyone remembers as steady, smart, and essential, without ever looking like you exploited the chaos. How? Highlight team wins rather than personal ones. Offer insights on what worked and what failed. Share credit widely, but let decision-makers privately know where you delivered results. This earns silent respect without attracting envy, a key Machiavellian balance. The hidden principle: appear reluctant, not ambitious. Machiavelli warned, one who shows too much desire for power invites enemies. If you seem eager to climb, others will try to block you. Instead, let success appear to find you. Play the role of the calm problem solver, the steady hand, not the schemer. Behind the scenes, though, every move is deliberate. In Part 5, we'll explore the final Machiavellian stage: how to make yourself untouchable in office politics, building influence so quietly and strategically that nobody sees you as a threat, yet everyone depends on you. If you've applied Machiavelli's strategies up to this point, you've learned how to observe, maneuver, and capitalize on shifting dynamics without drawing unnecessary attention. But there's a level beyond survival and advancement. It's where you become untouchable, the person nobody dares undermine because your influence is too deeply woven into the fabric of the organization. This final stage isn't about working harder. It's about strategic invisibility and controlled visibility, knowing exactly when to act, when to step back, and when to let others believe they hold the power. Step 1. Build power through silence. In office politics, those who talk the most often reveal the most: their ambitions, their insecurities, their plans. A Machiavellian operator values silence as a weapon. Say less than necessary in meetings. Avoid broadcasting your opinions until you understand everyone else's positions. Let others argue, expose weaknesses, and show their hand first. By speaking less, you automatically seem wiser and more in control. People start wondering what you know that they don't, and that subtle tension amplifies your presence without you lifting a finger. Step 2. Create strategic dependencies. To be untouchable, you must make yourself indispensable, but not in obvious ways. Most people try to secure their position by showing off achievements. That's a mistake. Instead, focus on embedding yourself into the systems, relationships, and workflows that power the organization. Ask yourself, who controls key decisions? Who influences them? What do they need most to succeed? Then position yourself as the quiet provider of that need. When people rely on you, you gain leverage, and leverage builds silent power. Step 3. Master the art of controlled visibility. Machiavelli warned, appear strong when it serves you, invisible when it protects you. Being untouchable requires timing. If you're too visible, you become a target for envy and sabotage. If you're too hidden, you get overlooked. The sweet spot is controlled visibility. Step forward during moments of high value, delivering solutions when leadership needs them most. Step back once the spotlight becomes competitive, letting others fight for attention while you conserve energy. Allow others to claim partial credit. This diffuses resentment and keeps you off rivals' radars. The key is that your influence grows quietly without becoming a political threat. Step 4. Disarm through subtle generosity. One Machiavellian paradox. Sometimes the fastest way to secure power is to share it strategically. Help colleagues solve problems without expecting recognition. Recommend others for projects that don't benefit you directly. Offer small wins to rivals, letting them believe they've beaten you. This lowers their guard. Meanwhile, decision-makers notice your lack of ego and trust you more. Over time, that trust becomes political currency, and trust outweighs raw competence in almost every organization. Step 5. Control the narrative without owning it. In every office, reputations are built and destroyed in whispers, not memos. The Machiavellian operator doesn't try to dominate the narrative directly. That's risky and transparent. Instead, you plant subtle stories and let others carry them. Example, instead of bragging about saving a project, mention casually to one colleague that leadership seemed relieved it was handled. That colleague spreads the story. Suddenly, your competence is being discussed, and you never said a word. The goal is influence without exposure. Letting others deliver your narrative makes it appear authentic and keeps your hands clean. Step 6. Become the trusted neutral. The highest form of Machiavellian power is to become the person everyone confides in, without being seen as aligned with any one group. To do this, avoid picking sides publicly. Support people privately, but keep your alliances subtle. Be a safe place for colleagues to vent frustrations without fear. Never weaponize what's shared. Protecting information builds long-term loyalty. Soon you'll control the informal network where real influence lives. Step 7. Make power look effortless. Here's the final paradox. The more people think you're strategizing, the more they'll work against you. To be truly untouchable, you must make your success look natural, as if opportunities simply fall into your lap. Act surprised when leadership trusts you with critical projects, even if you've been positioning for them for months. Downplay wins and highlight teamwork. Publicly give credit, privately collect influence. When power appears effortless, envy dies before it starts. Final lesson. Become the invisible hand. Machiavelli believed the ultimate ruler wasn't the one seen commanding, but the one quietly shaping outcomes. That's the pinnacle of office politics. Not domination, but subtle orchestration. When people depend on you without resenting you, respect you without fearing you, notice your influence but can't see your moves, you've achieved the highest Machiavellian goal: real power without visible risk.